Hello everyone, my name is Faisal, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create an ASP.NET MVC application and attach Entity Framework with it. So let's start. Open SQL Server Management Studio, and in the Databases section click New Database and create your database. I will name it as Gradebook. You will see a database has been created but it has no tables in it. So to create our first table, right click on the tables and click Table. Create the columns. I have ID, integer, first name, last name, and let's say roll number. Make it the primary key. Also set the identity specification. And press Ctrl S and it will ask you the name to name the table. I will say students. Click OK. Similarly, I'm going to create a new table for teachers. Teacher ID, teacher name, and email. Make it primary key, set the identity specification. Press Ctrl S and name it as teachers. So now I have set my simple database. Now open Visual Studio. I have Visual Studio 2015 Professional. In the File menu, go to New Project. As you can see, I'm already in the Visual C# web section and an ASP.NET web application is already selected. So select the location where your project will be saved. I'm going to select desktop and name your application. I will name it as MVC Gradebook. Click OK. And now it will ask you to specify the template you want to use. So I will be using MVC, and I will also check MVC Web API to add the references for our Web API methods, controllers, and add its default route. Change the authentication. Right now I'm not using any authentication, so and click OK. OK, and it will create our project. So our project is all set. And in the Solution Explorer, you can see it has created the required necessary folders and files. Uh, let's just run it. So here is our simple ASP.NET MVC application. These things are being populated from layout, including this one, and it have three different pages, and you can see the routes are being specified, and now the route is contact. Okay, now let's just add entity framework. So to add entity framework, I will add a class library to separate my concerns, and do not use the MVC gradebook MVC application project to include the entity framework. I will add a new class library, and I will name it as data access. You can simply delete this auto created class. We don't need this. Right click on data access and click new item and select ADO.NET entity data model and name it as specific to your project. I will simply name it as entity model. So I am going to create an entity framework designer from an existing database. So let's go with the first option, click next, and it will ask you to provide the connection. So here you will use, okay, I think I must have used in the new connection SQL Server. My server name is, and I'm going to use SQL Server authentication. I'll give my username and password, and it's showing me the gradebook, and I click OK. You can check, for now you can check the second option, and our gradebook entities will be created, and click next. You can specify the version you want to use. We'll be going with the latest version of entity framework. Click next. uh, Expand, and you can specify, check the tables you want to include in your entity framework. I'm going to check all. Click finish. All right, our entity model has been created, and you can see the two tables we created are represented represented as is as entities and have all the columns we have specified in our tables. And let's just save it. Press Ctrl S. In this section, entity model.tt, you can see two classes created. These are two auto-generated classes. So these include the properties as according to our database tables. So let's just create an API controller and use the get method to get all the students and teachers. So I will be creating two controllers. For this, go to controllers, add controller, select web API to controller empty, click add students controller. Let's just create a method public string get and return a simple string. Run your application and check if your API is working fine. In the URL, type API slash students and you will see a string return. Okay, as we now want to return all the students entered in our database, so we will be needing to add the reference of data access project in MVC gradebook application so that we can access our entity framework. So on the references, click add and you can see in the project solution, check data access, click OK. One more thing you need to do is go to data access, open app.config, and in the connection string, copy the connection string section, this one, and close it. Open the web.config of our MVC gradebook web application, and in configurations, paste it. Okay, I'm gonna go and add a few entries to our teachers and students table. In the teachers table, I will add two teachers. Now we will use our entities to return list of all the students in our database. To do this, var db is equal to new gradebook entities. As I haven't mentioned here the namespace where gradebook entities are located, so it's giving me the error when I hover on it, and it will ask me to use the reference. So I can either use uh, the helper provided by Visual Studio, or I can simply type it this myself here using data access. So now there is no error.